Hi there, Mark here. I'm on a bit of a Commodore 64 kick. You know, it's December 2020, pandemic. You know, what can you do? I've been actually using and playing a lot of my Commodore 64 computers and games and stuff. Been watching a ton of YouTube videos, and as the Commodore 64 really is getting very long in the tooth, a lot of people are looking for alternatives because the systems are prone to failure right now, and there's a ton of people actually making a lot of videos on how to repair those systems. Jan Beta, for example. Also, people are using, I'm pointing towards that box over there. There's also new hardware implementations that use software emulation. There's also people creating new motherboards for the Commodore 64 to be so you can actually use working components of dead parts from dead Commodore 64s. Hans Bushwhack actually created his own re-implementation of the Commodore 64 motherboard, and way back in 2015, I wanted to create a new as possible Commodore 64 myself. I've been repairing and swapping out parts for my various Commodore 64 computers over the years, and I've amassed a jar of broken parts like Adrian. Adrian also does videos on the camera. He has a dead parts bin. I have a dead parts bin as well, or a little jar. But I also had a ton of working chips that I could use to repopulate a system. And I've been combining Commodores into working systems, but when I saw an ad or a post from individual computers that a revision of a completely new motherboard was coming out, and there were new shells and new keyboards, not new keyboard, there was actually keycaps, Kickstarters for keycaps. I'm still waiting for my keycaps, actually, way back 5 years. But yeah, I actually obtained one of these individual computers, reloaded C64 motherboards. I had the appropriate chips to put on them. I did have to use a different PLA, so I used a PLA replacement, and I got a new case. I repurposed a keyboard from a dead C64C white keys. Well, I made 4 videos back then, and I'll combine them into one because, well, a lot of people actually have been building new C64s with that motherboard. And, well, even though it's 5 years ago, it's still fun to look back on it. And I actually use that Commodore quite a bit. I think next to the Aldi and my original bread bin, the Reloaded is one of the real Commodores that I actually use quite often. Let's go check out these videos.
Hi there, YouTube, Mark here. And I wanted to show you this. This is actually part 1 in my video series on creating a new Commodore 64. Step 1 is actually acquiring a blue case, which is a case from a Commodore 64C, and this is a recreated case that used the original molds, and I've got this from the US, and I thought it would be nice to have a blue Commodore 64C case. What will be added to this is actually a new Commodore 64 motherboard, the so-called new 64, which is a motherboard designed and created by individual computers, and that will house a CPU and all the other chips that the C64 needs to run. It'll run on a standard 9-volt power plug So not the weird Commodore 64 power plugs with different voltages and stuff. It's a whole newly designed motherboard. Of course, I need a keyboard, and I already have a keyboard from a non-functioning C64C with a functioning C64 keyboard, but I'm not going to use that. I am actually going to use a reprint of blue printed keycaps for this. So the whole system will actually be shades of blue. And I need a shield here, a label. But basically this will turn this into a brand new Commodore 64. Brand new, a recreated Commodore 64, which is totally hardware compatible. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked about that because it's my favorite home computer of all time, my first home computer, and I think it's just awesome to be able to recreate this. And of course I need a power LED and all sorts of stuff, but I'll manage, and I'll show you how I fare. It'll be documented on this YouTube video. Part 2 of the new Commodore 64 project, and actually today the new motherboard has arrived. So let's go take a look at the motherboard. Here we have the box that it comes in, and it's from individual computers. They also provide hardware solutions for the Amiga and other Commodore 64 computers, and it comes with some instructions. Basically it tells us that the chipsets, the chips used in this old system are much more susceptible to electrostatic discharge than today's CMOS circuits. So they advise you to use anti-static wristbands and really earthing yourself so that you don't destroy the board and its components. So I'm not going to lift it up, I'm just going to look at the components. So let's remove the padding. So this basically is the new Commodore 64 motherboard, and as you can see it's C64 Reloaded by individual computers, and basically it has a lot of the chips the CIA1 it has in place, and that's the keyboard connector. It has the SID chip in place, which is a new SID chip, and you can actually have a jumper setting for the older and the newer models, and this is the newer model, the 8580, and this is actually a circuit that allows you to change the system between PAL and NTSC, which is actually very interesting because you can have American games running on there and European games. This is actually a VIC-2 chip, and yeah, you can see that there's various jumper settings for voltages for the different chips, and this is the VIC chip. This is the 8565, so it needs 5 volts instead of 2 volts. So, and it is set to the right, so that is correct. And this is a chip that I still need, and that's the PLA, the C64 PLA. And as you can see, all the chips come in 0 insertion force socket, so that's the only chip that is still in need. There's a 6510 CPU installed, and all the others. There's a RAM, there's color RAM, there's C64 RAM, the CIA2, and the ROMs. And the ROMs are actually C64 Forever ROMs. So they are licensed Commodore 64 ROMs. And yeah, this is the tape port, and this is the user port. This actually is the serial port and the video ports, and this is something extra that comes in place of the RF and the channel selection pod, which is actually S-video out and a stereo out, and it comes with a cartridge port. So yeah, installing this, oh yeah, and it uses a 12 volt DC in. So yeah, this really turns the Commodore 64 with its blue case, it turns it into a brand new system using older chips, and I just need the PLA, and I need to source a keyboard, Commodore 64C keyboard, and I'm going to replace the caps with And I hope that they are darker blue. I believe that they are darker blue, so they are actually mimicking the startup screen like Hellfire 64 told us or suggested. And yeah, great system. I really love how it looks. And yeah, I mean it's quite amazing to have this old computer become alive again with a new hardware. So great stuff. So yeah. Okay, well, I'll be back with a third installment of this video, of this series. Okay, so I've cracked open the case and I'm going to install this bit of RF shielding first and put the motherboard in place. And I'm also going to have to use these metal brackets to put in that keyboard in place. So yeah, I'm going to install the motherboard. Okay, so this is the RF shielding in place, and the motherboard sits also in place. So I'm just going to put in some screws to put the motherboard down, to put it down, to screw it down. So all the screws that are supposed to be in place for screwing the motherboard down are actually in place, and I'm now going to install these two metal keyboard brackets, because on the 64C case the keyboard is actually notched, wedged underneath this and screwed on top of those two. But I may actually not do that just yet, because I am still considering what to do for the PLA. I could desolder the PLA myself, but the PLA from my donor system, which is actually over there, may actually be fried and I don't want to put it in there. So I may actually have to go for another PLA, source one down from the internet, or even go for one of these new reproduction PLAs that have been produced. Everything fits nicely. The shielding just goes on top of that. And from what I gathered, actually that this board is running off of a 12 volt DC. And the chips on the board are actually running at much lower temperatures than on the original system. On the original system, the SID and the VIC would actually reach close to 50 degrees Celsius. And on this new board, they're much lower, in the 30 degrees. So that's a great way to maintain proper system operation. So yeah, I'll get back to you when I got the PLA, put that in. And then this keyboard, I have to clean it up. These keycaps will eventually be replaced with blue keycaps reprints, so that they would go nicely with the blue of the board. Got this this LED, but the LED wire is actually a bit too short, because the LED is over here. So I have to splice the wires and put some other wires in and just have it work like that. Okay, taking a look at the donor system, which is fried. It does have a Revision 5 SID chip, and it also has a Revision 2 VIC chip. So that's actually quite good. The PLA has been fried, so I won't be able to install that. So I'm going to go for the new reimplementation chipset. And yeah, the LED connector on this board is over here, and on this board it's way over there. So on this board the lead can be very short, but on the other system I need to extend the lead. I've put the LED in. Not sure if you can tell, but the lead is too short, so I have to make the cables longer. So as you can see, the new board and the old board, there's quite a huge difference in the amount of components, the number of components that are on here. But I'm going to keep this for spares, for spare chips and stuff. And yeah, perhaps one day revive this old board, because it really deserves to live. Well, on this metal bit, I had to do a slight modification. You really can't tell, but I really had to do a slight modification on this to have it seated properly, because the shape of the joystick ports is slightly different, and this has a sort of edge that has to fit snugly over that, and it has a support leg on this bit of the motherboard, but it fits snugly now, so it's good. It's good. Just a sneak preview on how it'll look with all the with the motherboard in place. Okay, so this is it with the label installed, with the keyboard installed. It's still missing the PLA, so it's non-functioning at the moment. But yeah, these keys are going to be replaced. So yeah, been going over my my spare parts for the Commodore 64 motherboards, and yeah, the PLA, I don't have one that I can miss of my working boards. And the fried boards, I think the PLA has gone tits up. That's the chip on the Commodore that actually is most prone to breaking. I am going to go for the Super PLA version 3, which is a great re-implementation in hardware of the original Commodore PLA. And the Super PLA is actually a chip that just fits right into the ZIF socket, that also has jumpers, and you can use it on the VIC, on the C16, on other Commodore computers as well. So that's actually quite interesting. But yeah, looks pretty cool, and with the blue keys, all blue, and I may actually have to go for a blue label that just goes with the keys, with the case. But yeah, with these keys, it's doable. So I can live with it for now, because it looks cool. And I really have to change the position of the keyboard a bit, because it's a little bit too much to the left. Yeah, really, I'm looking forward to firing it on for the first time. And yeah, I've got this. Whoops. I've got this. It's an Epic Fast Load Reloaded, and I am going to be using that with, well, it's in a bag now. One of these. And of course I also have the Chameleon, and I also have the 1541 Ultimate. But there's a problem with the 1541 Ultimate and this case. If you want to use the let me show you. If you want to use the stereo out and the S-video out, because on the side of the 1541 Ultimate comes this little drive cable, and that actually sits in the way of this, because yeah, this is hardly ever used. So I imagine Gideon thinking, well, you know, it'll never interfere with anything. But yeah, if you do one of these new reloaded Commodore 64 boards, then yeah. Brand new C64. The only old stuff is the power LED, the label, and the keyboard for now. Hi there, Mark Verheer here, with a package by Individual Computers, and this is actually the remainder of the stuff that I ordered from Individual Computers, completing my blue Commodore 64. We have the case. I've just gotten the Super PLA version 3. I still need to install it. I've gotten some joysticks, some Competition Pro reproduction joysticks, and I should open this up and install the PLA and see if it works. I've attached rubber feet while I was waiting for the PLA, and I've made my own little label. So yeah, let's open up the case. Okay, so let's unscrew the Commodore 64 case. I'm very curious after the end result. Yes, whoops, of course. The screws drop into the floor. my yeah. Okay, so I got the cable for the LED spliced properly, so yeah, let's what I actually did, I elongated the cable for the LED. So yeah, so I have to remove the keyboard to access the PLA. Let's do that. I have to remove the cable from the keyboard and get the shield off, and access the spot where the PLA is supposed to go. Remove the keyboard also. Okay, let's remove the keyboard, and I'll perhaps also remove the, yep, like so. Okay. So yeah, this is the spot where the Super PLA version 3 goes in. So yeah, let's do that. Let's put in the PLA. Okay, so the Super PLA is in situ. And yeah, so the PLA is in position. I just have to screw back these 3 screws and hopefully it'll work. Okay, changed shirts. Yeah, after some light gardening, I had to take a shower and had to change shirts. But yeah, it continued. Okay, I'm hooking this up over composite video because I don't have an S-video cable yet, and I'm also attaching these reproduction joysticks, and of course first time switching on, and of course I'm going to attach a whole shitload of stuff before switching it on for the first time. But yeah, let me see. Power. I need power. So this is the power adapter. It's a 12-volt power adapter, 2000 milliamps. Hook that up. Oh yeah, let's show you the jack plug. This plug is actually the plug that is used for the power, and that's actually a very standard plug. It is center is positive, so yeah, it's actually fairly easy to install. Let me see. I have to get the screen a bit in view. Oops, screen a bit in view, like so. So let's turn it on for the first time. Yeah. Power to the power strip. Let's turn it on for the first time. Holy crap. It works! Very cool. So yeah, the screen is not as good as if you were using S-video, but the composite video is actually not bad. So print Lecto. Whoops. So the keyboard works. Lecto was here. Poke. Let me type a small program, of course. So what I'm going to do is Lecter was here. Whoops. Okay, poke a random, like so, 5 poke. One has to make a program, of course, and then 20 go to 10. So if all goes well, this is a nice little program that prints random colored letters on the screen and scrolls, and it says Lecter was here. Pretty nifty. Let's insert like so, and now it's even more fanciful. Okay, so I think it's time to hook in the 1541 Ultimate. Of course, you have to switch it. You have to switch it off. Yeah, I'm going to cut here and show you some footage of the machine powered on. And yeah, I'm just gonna. Oh yeah, if you move the power switch to the up direction, it does a reset. So it has a built-in reset key. Very, very nice. So hooking up the 1541 Ultimate. And turning it on. So it's nicely booting into the card. Let's try a demo. Data storm or breakpoint snapshot black spark. Yeah, why not? Why not black spark? Intro. Mount and run. Very curious. This is only using one speaker. SID filters work well. Wow. Great sound coming out of it. I guess a demo really is a way to test the hardware because it uses all sorts of weird interrupts and stuff. So this is putting the PLA to the test. It's really working. Let's play a game. That new Commando arcade game is pretty cool. Second joystick. It's rather clicky. Start. Start. So it's really clicky.
Whoops. So this is running great. Okay, let's try another game. The other joystick port, this was running on joystick port 2. Miss Pac-Man, on the other hand, is running from joystick port 1. Let's see if that works. I think it does. Oh yeah. This baby is brand new. Whoops. Now let's try a little Iridium, because that has very nice, fast, smooth scrolling graphics. Iridium. I guess just that one. See if it works. Oh wow. This is just awesome. I can't wait for the blue keycaps to arrive. I'm still contemplating on whether or not I should exchange those as well, if it was all blue, or because the gray actually matches the little label here as well. If I go all blue, I may actually have to change the label. It really feels very comfortable playing on this new machine. High score load. So I guess this is joystick port 2 again. Yeah. Come on, I want to land. Come on, land. And now time for the mini game. Ah, it's always tough. That plays rather well. Now, game of Mindstorm, and that'll be the finishing off of the demonstration. I actually will do an overview showing you the system running. I might actually do that now. Whoops. So, yeah, light isn't too good. So you have the 1541 Ultimate, the original video connector used, and the two modern joysticks. And it running a very nice game. Well, let's put it back on the stand. Flip back the camera. Is it still in position? Yes. Nope.
trainer. No. This is a very good game. Very soft. I just love the music in this one. Oh, crap. Yeah, with these enemies spawning just where you are, it can be kind of crappy. Always be on the move, I guess, to prevent shit spawning. Cool. Whoops. Amazing. Very fast vector graphics. Love it! Love it! Oh man. Oops. Ah, holy crap. Ah, I think it's game over. Amazing stuff. Holy crap.